199 and 165 as well, and they should be headed back as well.
I remember that day like it happened this morning. It's that clear of a picture. On August 19th, I remember it was getting really hot. Summer was in full force now. Things were really dry. The temperature was really hot. We got dispatched to the Woods Canyon Road, which was where the Twisp River Fire started. And as soon as we dispatched, we were on our way. And as we got there, things seemed pretty normal. Fire wasn't completely out of control, and it was just slowly creeping up the hill. There were some structures in danger. As we were doing that initial hike up the road, it's thrilling in a lot of ways. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, especially if you're new to it. But at that point, during the fire, I wasn't too scared of what was going on. It seemed like everything was under control. Of course, there's a lot of smoke in the air, but nothing seemed really out of the ordinary. But when things did start to really get scary is when there started to be some propane tanks that started venting. When the fire is near those tanks venting is extremely loud. I did start getting a little nervous. The intensity of the fire started picking up. This was a real fire, and it seemed like it had the potential to turn into something a lot bigger. We noticed there was a big wind shift. The wind started picking up, the intensity of the wind started picking up, and you could feel that gust come across your face. And at that very moment, the fire was below us at this point, but at that very moment, it seemed like fuel from the clouds, like gasoline was poured onto this fire, because within an instant, it just exploded. The trees were engulfed, and that fire was now coming directly at us. Intense moment of chaos. It went from 0 to 100 within just a couple of seconds. Our crew jumped in our engine, and really at that point, our only chance of getting out of there was to drive back downhill, and that meant driving through the fire. Problem was that there was zero visibility. It wasn't even that there was a lot of smoke, it was just pure flame. The tallest flames I had ever seen in my life at that point. The heat was extremely intense, and it was just pure orange and red wherever you looked, and you could not really see the road at all. And really all you could see is just the red glow of the flame. As we were proceeding down the road, the visibility was so bad, the driver of the engine ended up veering off to the right-hand side of the road, and we went off a steep embankment into a ravine, and that is where our engine came to a really abrupt stop, and we crashed at the bottom of it, and our engine was completely stuck right there, and we were surrounded by the flames because we essentially crashed right into the midst of the fire. So I swung open the door. I was on fire, and my only option was to try to get to our safety zone, which was down below, but that meant running through the fire on foot. And the fire was so intense that I knew it was either die right there or at least die trying to run out of that situation. I climbed up the hillside, got to the road, to the gravel road, and just started screaming as loud as I could that there was guys behind me. And I remember looking down at my boots, and they were literally smoking. I was wearing a pair of leather boots, and the laces were singed and everything. These guys were putting me in the back of the fire engine, and we were heading down the road to meet up with an ambulance, which was then going to take me to a life flight to get me out of there and get me treatment, because at this point I was burned 65% of my body. I was begging for the medics to pray for me, and after a couple doses of pain medication, everything went black. I went to sleep, and I woke up about a month later in Seattle, Washington at Harborview Medical Center. I woke up to essentially being a mummy. I was completely wrapped in gauze from head to toe. All I could see was my feet. So I went from a lifestyle of loving the outdoors and working in the outdoors and being outside almost 24/7 to being locked up inside and having nothing but a window to look out.